Chatt R Boxx Podcast. Chatt R Boxx Podcast. Chatt R Boxx Podcast. Chatt R Boxx Podcast. Chatt R Boxx Podcast.
So here we are,
Yeah.
the D&D edition
God dang. How
of the
long?
Chatt R Boxx Podcast.
It take a minute to get us to this, but the epic movie review of the Duengeons and Dragons movie is on and popping, Buck Wild.
Man, all right. So we did it. We finally did it. You know what I'm saying? D&D
Okay.
is in the mix.
Yeah. Y'all go ahead.
Hey, yo,
Y'all go ahead, clap it up.
D&D has that history though. You know what I mean?
It do. I mean, it goes way back, you know, because I don't know the whole story, but I know I used to watch the cartoon back in the 80s. But Buck, you more about this Dungeons and Dragons shit than I am, so let the chat box realm know what's up, man.
Alright, so you know, D&D has been around a hot minute since, like, I want to say it came out in the 60s. It might have been the 70s, but I think it was the 60s.
Okay.
Guy by the name of Gary Gygax. That's his real name. That ain't no fake name or nothing.
I bet he named one of his characters that shit too.
Great fun fact, he's actually from the state that I live in currently.
My word.
Wisconsin.
My word. Wisconsin putting out good product.
Like his house, his childhood house or whatever, that's the museum now, and it's like maybe an hour and a half from my house. I ain't been into it yet, but I gotta go check it out sometime.
So you mean to tell me that you said Gary Gygax?
Yeah.
His childhood home, the home he grew up in, the home where he had visions of D&D being like
Yes, sir.
a worldwide fucking phenomenon.
Yeah.
This man's childhood home is now like the D&D museum and shit like that.
Yes, sir.
Damn, Chatbox Realm. Shit's crazy.
And if you trying to get into D&D and you want to learn how to do it,
Yeah.
that's the place to go. You go there and then they'll run a campaign for you, and they'll hit you up and set you up with stuff.
Okay.
And you run like what they call a one shot, which is like a one deal. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes one shots last
Damn, that's
Like-
kind of dope.
a couple weeks. Sometimes it lasts a couple hours. Just depends on how good your DM is and how the campaign runs, and pretty much how your party interacts. Because sometimes your party can drag that shit out.
Okay, so as far as how the campaign goes, man, what's the score behind that, man? Because I think campaign, I think sort of like a mission, an operation, some shit like that.
And I mean, essentially, that's what it is. So, you know, because you got your dungeons,
Okay.
and then you got your dragons. Sometimes you got dungeons with dragons. Sometimes you got dungeons without dragons.
Okay.
But what ends up happening is, like, you know, it's a typical your hero's quest, as it were. The common trope is, because usually your party involves anywhere from 3 to 6 people or 4 to 6 people, depending on whatever it is.
Okay.
And then you got your dungeon master or your game master, depending on what you're playing, what setting you're playing in.
Okay.
Most people think of D&D, and when you think of D&D, think of swords and knives and knights and shit like that.
Okay.
But there's there's other settings. They got shit in space. There's settings with Pokemon.
Right.
There's settings with Star Wars. They got settings for pretty much anything. There's a Rick and Morty version of D&D.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, bro. It's wild.
Damn.
Like, so So D&D is kind of a versatile game because why? Because you use the theater of the mind, your imagination. So
Okay.
take you back to them kid days.
Okay.
I mean, it ain't gonna start off that good because, of course, you got your Dungeons and Dragons, and of course, there's monsters and demons and type stuff, and them evangelistic types, they weren't too fond of it, so they were scared of it. So around the 70s, they got boycotted and they wanted to burn it at the stake, type of deal. And it was getting banned from schools and all kind of crap. It was like whole towns. They was pulling foot loose where they were like, I ain't playing D&D in this city.
Holy shit.
No, sir.
So you saying the townspeople was going ham on some D&D, huh?
Bro, it was big, bro. It was big. And then, but yeah, so what ended up happening was, it kind of went like an underground type of deal, and mainly it was a game made by nerds. So, back in the day, because it's basically a game of numbers.
Okay.
Because you're counting numbers off the dice and all that other stuff.
Now, what do those numbers represent, though? That's what I'm saying.
It just depends, because like I said, you got all your D&D dice.
Okay.
So there is, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But there is I want to say eight different dice.
Right. Damn. That's a lot of damn dice for a game. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you got all kinds. So you got your D20. Your D20 is probably the most recognizable one out of the thing. Well, not really. Your D4 would be, or no, your D6 would be the most recognizable out of the list.
Okay.
Because your D4 is what everybody uses for everything. You shooting dice in the alley, you're using the D4.
Nice.
Or D6. Sorry, D6. You shooting dice in the alley, you're using the D6. Playing Yahtzee, using the D6.
Okay.
So that's the most common dice. That's the regular dice.
Right.
So then you got your D4. Your D4, it looks like a pyramid. Your D4 is usually on some like smaller weapons that don't do a lot of damage. So because they go from like 2 to 4. That's their numbers on them.
Okay.
So then you got your D8. Your D8 looks like 2 pyramids on top of each other. And then the max damage you can do with that is an 8.
Okay.
D10, it's pretty much the same thing. It's kind of it's almost like a pyramid, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
And it's more like diamond shape almost.
Okay.
And that one, it goes max damage you can do at 10.
Okay.
Your D12, it's like I don't even know what shape that is. It's like an octagon, a hexagon, or something. It's more like a hexagon, I guess. But then that one has your max you can go is 12.
Okay.
And of course, like I said, the most like for everything everybody uses for the D&D symbols and their little whatever is the D20. That's the most common D&D dice that you would roll when you roll.
Oh, that's lit.
So when you roll, literally you could play a game and all you really need is a D20.
So that covers everything.
You can kind of do everything with it. It goes to the max 20, and then there's other dice that they have, but there's ways like when you do if you do a D100, it's like you roll 2 D10s, and then you take the certain numbers off and do a bunch of math with it.
Okay.
So there's other ways to get numbers with other things, but yeah, for the most part, you want your D20, and then usually your character has like a damage dice, so it'll be one of those other 5.
Oh, that's nice. So
yeah. What's that?
So with the dice, because you was talking about how they do damage. What else? What other role does the dice play in the game other than just doing damage? Because I've seen it some where they move.
D20 is your most common. Okay. So like let's for instance, say that we're going in and we're trying to sneak into a dungeon, or we're trying to sneak into the castle. Right, so we're gonna sneak into the castle. So now we got to use our skills. Okay. So for whatever reason, we'll say, okay, we got a rogue and then we got a barbarian. Two highly different, contrasted individuals. Okay. Now your rogue will have basically what they call an advantage. So because that's what they're designed for. They're designed for sneaking and stealth. Your barbarian, on the other hand, they're designed to smash shit. Okay. So you won't have advantage. You'll have a regular roll. Right. So you're going to sneak in, and then basically, if you roll with advantage, you get to roll twice. Okay. So you roll your D20, and then you roll it again. So let's say you roll it and you roll a 10, and then if you have advantage, then you roll again, and then you roll and you have a 12. Well, then because you have advantage, you'll take that 12. Okay. So let's say that because what that's called is we call it a stealth check. Right. So basically, it's saying like, how stealthily are you getting into the building? Are you walking and stomping your feet, or are you like chilling and like a damn ninja, tiptoeing with your Jordans? Or you light up LA gear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So then you got to sneak in. Okay. So now, do you make noise or not? And that's where the stealth check comes in. Okay. So now the rogue has rolled their double. Their double roll, and then the second roll, okay, they roll 12. Well, maybe your stealth check is 11. Well, since it's 11 and you got a 12 at advantage, because maybe your first roll was a 10, but since he has advantage, he gets to roll that again, right? Yeah. So now you roll 2 dice. I mean, you can roll 2 dice, or you can roll 1 dice twice. However you feel it, because I'll talk about that a little later. All right, that's what's up. Because there's a little thing we call dice goblins, and we'll get into that whole thing a little later. You said dice goblins? It's one of the dice goblins. God damn. essentially, it's people who like clacky things. Okay. And because you get into the game and then you start collecting stuff. So some people collect the miniatures, some people like collecting the dice, and that's a dice goblin. Nice. You get to buying dice, and you're like, these dice are cool. Okay. And then you buy more dice, and you buy more dice, and the next thing you know, you got bags and bags of dice. And you're like, oh, I got a lot of dice. Y'all hear that, Chatt Boxx Room? Y'all getting some knowledge today. Get this D&D science, damn it. Don't be scared. Scoop this shit up now. but yeah, so essentially you roll that stealth check. Now, if the barbarian rolls, depending on the size of the barbarian and all the other stuff, you can roll with either just regular or with this. Nice. Advantage. Now, disadvantage works the opposite of advantage. So if let's say the barbarian's just too big, he's just a big goofy dude. Shaq. Now, Shaq trying to sneak into a castle, you're probably gonna notice Shaq, right? I was about to say Shaq kind of big. You can't miss him. You got to be blind or dead to miss his big ass. So if Shaq was your barbarian, you would have to probably roll with disadvantage. Right. So now you roll the two D20s, and let's say the one is a 5, and then you roll a natural 20, which is like the highest you can get, which is like really good. But because you're at a disadvantage, because you have to roll with disadvantage because he's really big. Yeah. Now you count that 5 instead of the 20. Oh shit. So then